Is it time for women to be obligated for draft registration? We're going to be asking that question today in Somers, New York, at the Veterans Memorial Parade.
This particular year happens to be the bicentennial anniversary of the death of a veteran whose cenotaph at his family's burial ground most aptly describes him as being distinguished for his energy, his courage, and his manly sense of honor. Obviously, this is an old veteran from years and years ago, and back then all veterans were manly, but today we know they're not just manly, they're womanly as well.
If it did come to that, do you think it's time now that women register for the draft?
That's an issue that I would have to give some thought to before speaking off the cuff to you about it.
Is it time now, if there is a draft for draft registration for women?
I don't think so.
Why is that?
I don't think the country's ready for it.
I think today we're here to honor our veterans, and I'd like to go about that business as the first order of business
yes, certainly.
today.
But there's so many women active now in the military that, it's just kind of a moot point that they should, continue and register for the draft.
Well, we certainly honor both our men and our women veterans here today. It's our intention not to leave anybody out.
I would say that the country's not ready yet to draft women. I'm not sure they ever will be. It is tradition, it is custom, and while there are women who volunteer, even to some extent there's still a sheltering, whether there should or shouldn't be, there is a reality of sheltering women even from certain frontline combat.
Like yourself, women hold political office now and vote, and it just, I think, would be appropriate for them to also join with men in registering when they turn 18 years old.
Thank you for your thoughts on the subject.
Okay, thank you.
There's a certain inhumanity in the world, and I think that this country has a tradition that it'll uphold of not drafting women, not involuntarily inserting women into hostile positions where there are less humane individuals.
Well, let me tell you something. My outlook is this. Be like Israel. When a kid gets out of high school, 2 years draft, man and woman, you always got a standing army.
But in Israel, the women only are drafted for half the amount of time if they're only 1 year.
Do the same here, but have some draft.
Right. So you're for drafting women as well as the men?
After they're out of high school for a year or two.
Okay. And what about women in combat? No, but drafting in certain rear echelon jobs would be okay.
Absolutely.
I agree with my husband. Yes, I do.
Very good. I'm glad to see a fair-minded people. We actually have a petition here about drafting women because it's men have to register when they turn 18, but not women.
Yes.
So we were wondering if we could get you to maybe sign this.
What's that? To draft them?
Yeah, to
Sure.
draft women.
There you go.
We even had a petition, which Men's Net drafted up, titled Draft Registration for Women. Women vote and hold political office, both of which determine our nation's foreign policies which have led our country to war. Therefore, young women should be registered with the Selective Service System by their 18th birthday to render national service along with American men. President Clinton renewed the sex discriminatory federal law which deprives men of federal loans, federal jobs, and federal job training if unregistered. Conviction may result in a 5-year imprisonment and or a $250,000 fine. Men's Net proposes legislation that young women must register with the Selective Service System in case a military draft becomes necessary. Kind of blows their equal rights argument out of the water, though. I mean, they seem to want more rights. They even want the right to go into combat, but they don't want the obligation of the draft.
Well, at the moment, it's an academic discussion. I think if, in fact, we get to a point where we're talking about reinstituting the government at the national level then let's have this debate. But my opinion is that I just don't think the country's ready at this point for drafting women.
What do you think? Do you think it'll come to a draft now because of the Iraq war?
Well, that's very hard to say, and it's very hard. I hope we don't go to that.
There was a draft during World War II.
Yes, but the women during World War II were not drafted. They were all enlistees.
Right, they volunteered. They didn't have a draft.
Volunteered.
Do you think it'll come to drafting women as we deplete our forces?
At the present time?
Yes.
It's very hard to say.
Yeah, right.
And they would draft women because they have equal rights.
Well, they're supposed to, but there's still not draft registration for women. It's not a law. Men have to register at 18 right now, but not women.
Well, maybe they wouldn't be drafted if there was one.
Maybe enough people would join.
I'm hoping the war in Iraq ends very quickly so we don't have to go to a draft.
But how do you feel about drafting women? Do you think...
Well, I really don't think women should be drafted
I see.
because many of them would be mothers, and I don't think the children should be left.
So you would be against the women vying for combat roles because that's the exclusion that they use right now to keep them from being drafted.
I don't want to give my opinion about that.
It's terrible. I feel bad for all the boys over there still and getting killed. I feel really sad.
What do you think? Do you think it'll come to a draft being reinstated because, our continuing progress there?
It might.
Right.
It might.
Would the draft include women as well, as Charles Rangel has said?
You never know today.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it could happen.
Would you be for that? Would you, want to see that happen?
Well, they'll say it's equal today. That's what they would say.
Right.
Male, but,
Yeah. In other words, they get equal rights. They should have equal obligation.
Yeah, I guess so today.
Yeah, I've heard about that. My opinion personally is that I guess it should be equal for everyone, but I don't know. It's usually has been that women aren't drafted for many reasons, of course, but
What are those reasons?
mostly because, let's say, it's a lot different for guys. I mean, women are some people that just can't handle war as much as men can. It's just a different sort of thing.
It's a very stressful, emotional situation.
And that some women can't handle.
If it does, so be it.
Yeah, do you think then that's our obligation to go over and serve? What about the women that are over there? Do you think they would be drafted as well?
No, they'll never draft women.
No?
No.
You don't think that's
No.
the right thing? But they want equal rights and everything.
Well, let them fight that battle. I don't think they should be drafted. Only men.
I don't know. Maybe if women are drafted, it should be a little more strict in choosing who. But it still should be fair, I guess.
Oh, it would be only for the women who can handle it then, is what you're saying?
Yes.
You said
no.
whatever. You have the same opinion as
Why are you
as
so
anyone.
focused on the draft?
Well, it's been in the newspapers now, and because
Don't
of the
believe everything you read,
Well,
especially in the liberal press.
Right. Well,
99% of the media is liberal.
so you think that it's a political ploy they're using to
Yes.
talk about the draft?
Yes.
I think the women would come forward and volunteer on their own.
Okay.
I don't think they'd be